A recent study showed that if you put 20 leaders in a room, 20 leaders in a room, only one out of the 20 is a strategic thinker, meaning they think about strategies on how to outmaneuver their opponents. 1 in 20. I know we've heard Buffett say things like, there's 3 qualities we hire for: intelligence, initiative, and integrity. And if you don't have the last one, the first 2 don't matter. I know we hear that. But when it comes down to business, at the end of the day, the person that's able to outmaneuver their peers, say they all work hard, say they're all reading books, say they're all improving, but one guy keeps becoming more and more and more strategic, long term, I'm just going to break it to you. You're not going to be able to beat that guy, even if you work the same amount of hours he or she works. A recent study showed that if you put 20 leaders in a room, 20 leaders in a room, only one out of the 20 is a strategic thinker, meaning they think about strategies on how to outmaneuver their opponents. 1 in 20. I know we've heard Buffett say things like, there's 3 qualities we hire for: intelligence, initiative, and integrity. And if you don't have the last one, the first 2 don't matter. I know we hear that. But when it comes down to business, at the end of the day, the person that's able to outmaneuver their peers, say they all work hard, say they're all reading books, say they're all improving, but one guy keeps becoming more and more and more strategic, long term, I'm just going to break it to you. You're not going to be able to beat that guy, even if you work the same amount of hours he or she works. You'll eventually have to improve your strategy game. So today we're going to talk about what you can do to improve your strategy game. So by the way, today whatever I talk about, I'm going to give you a PDF, so hang tight till the end. But let me get right into it. Look, when it comes down to strategy, most people think, oh, he's a strategic thinker. He's a strategist. What is it really about when you talk about strategy? And I'll leave an article below that you should read about this topic. Here's how it works out. Strategy comes down to 3 different ways of thinking. There is the short-term strategist, the mid-term strategist, the long-term strategist. You may be watching this and you don't even know it. You're a better short-term strategist. You may be watching this and you don't even know it. You're a better mid-term, and some of you are good long-term. Now here's the challenge. Some people are great with long-term strategies, but they suck in short-term and mid-term. You can't compete with somebody that's good at all 3. And some people are good at short-term strategies, but they're not good at mid-term and long-term. So what is the difference between short-term, mid-term, and long-term? Let me kind of unpack so that makes sense to you. Short-term thinkers are problem solvers, meaning something happens, here's what I think we need to do, immediate decisions, wait, we move on. Mid-term thinkers, they think like a strategist. Long-term thinkers, they're planning their next strategy. Now, timeline-wise, the short-term thinker could be a second problem solver. Somebody comes up, hey, here's what just happened. What should we do? I think we should do this. Okay, great, let's move on. That was 7 seconds, right? Hey, this is what's going on. What should we be doing with this? Well, have we asked this person, well, what about this? And give me the data. What's the report look like? What did he say? What did he say in the email? 45 minutes later, decision's been made. But that's a second to an hour strategist. Short-term thinker, immediate. You're a problem solver. The midterm one is day to day. So, tomorrow we have a board meeting and the guy's going to be asking this question, and I really have no answer for him. What are we going to say when we say our expenses are high in this one area? We spent $7 million, and last year, same time, we only spent $2.8 million. What do we say? Well, let's go back and look what we unpack the $7 million for me. We did this, and why do we spend the money over here? Is it fair to say that the $7 million we spend, it's going to help us out next year? Yes, it is. Boom. Okay, can you get this research within 24 hours? You have the info next day at the board meeting, 24 hours. Here's why we have $7 million here instead of $2.7 million, and you actually bring it up with all the data, and they say, okay, we're not happy about it, but it makes sense. Timeline on the long term is planning for next month. What are we going to be doing next month? What is the plans next quarter? What's the plans in Q4? What's the plan 2021, 2022, 2023? Or what's the plan the next 5-year vision, 10-year vision, 20-year vision? There are many people who are very good here, but they're not good here. Again, so next one. Short-term strategist is a street fighter. You go into a street fight, it lasts less than a minute, pop, pop, boom, boom, you leave, it's done. Fight's over with, right? That's short term. One small little brawl, a bar fight, a brawl. Second one is a battle. This is something that's going to be going on. It's a battle. It's a lot of people involved. It's going on. Maybe it lasts a little longer. You're trying to win this battle. The last one is a war. So the war knows how to look at everything, because war typically lasts a long time. So they have to look at that street fight was won by this guy, and that little battle we lost. But what do we learn from this battle that left us clues and the data to know that next time we're going to flank from this angle and we're going to send 2 people and we got to create an alliance there. That's a different level of thinking that very few people spend a lot of time. Most people are here, believe it or not. Most people are not here. Next, short term, you're putting out fires. You're a firefighter. Middle one, you're preventing fire. The last one is you're building and deciding where you're going to put your fire stations. So, oh my gosh, put out that fire. Oh, we got another fire, let me put that out. Oh, another fire, we got to put that out. This one, we got to make sure we have 19, hoses everywhere. This one is, no. We need one fire station in that zip code, one fire station in this zip code, one fire station in this code. We need to teach courses, we need to make videos, we need to make education, we need to go to schools. Different way of thinking. Again, Band-Aid, short-term thinking, surgery, midterm, long-term, lifestyle. If you stop eating sugar, if you drink more water, if you exercise, you're going to be able to avoid the Band-Aid or the surgery because you're more prepared and it's a long-term lifestyle. Are you kind of getting the idea of the difference between these thinkers, right? This is just to kind of give you an idea. You got to ask yourself and even comment below, are you a short-term strategist, a midterm strategist, or a long-term? And which one of these areas can you improve and comment below? So now let's set this aside and let's talk about what a real strategist thinks about. Number one, everything about a strategist is about anticipation. Remember, this guy anticipates what could happen, so he prevents a Band-Aid and a surgery. This guy's not anticipation. It's like, oh, let's just go. Anticipation is number one. And how do you anticipate? By gathering as much intel and data as you can. For example, what kind of intel can you get? Intel on the industry, from the industry experts. Intel from somebody that used to be with a former competitor company and you recruit them. Intel from an article you get. Intel from somebody that works for a regulator. Intel from this is intel that you're gathering. Then intel from the inside source. Intel from, hey, my office that we sell our phones through at this Radio Shack. The sales leader there does XYZ and he has this issue and 3 employees told us that at work he's always smoking weed and the guys haven't hit their numbers for the last. That is intel I need. You need that intel to anticipate a problem you could face with that shop, so you got to prevent it before it happens, right? Intel, then it's best case, worst case. Strategies, what's the worst case that can happen if we do this here? Oh, that's pretty bad. What's the best case? Okay, great. Let's see what we can do to make worst case better. Number 2. Non-emotional critical thinking. I put ego out of the. It's very hard to do for a lot of people because I've been in a lot of rooms where one of my own guys that work for me, maybe an executive or a sales leader, absolutely offended me and insulted me in the worst possible way in a room. I'm talking about the worst way, which is semi-embarrassing, right? And in that moment, for me, I can sit there and just trash this guy because I know everything about him and just ruin his reputation. But I didn't. Nothing was said. I just stood there and I'm like, okay, let's take a quick break. And we walked off, boom, we come back and bring the meeting together, set the tone, we start. In that moment, I know what I can do, but that's based on ego if I go there. If I would have done that during that time with my ego, I would have potentially lost 3 accounts. If I would have lost those 3 accounts, the value of the company for that time. So I had to be patient to know that eventually everyone's going to know who the leader in this room is and everyone's going to figure out what the right decisions being made. But if the ego was in the way, that would have never happened. So let's talk about this. Constantly challenging your own views. Constantly. Are we doing the right thing here? This is how we've done this. Has it worked? Did it work? Is our philosophy the right approach? Because to have the right philosophy takes years. Sometimes people don't have the right philosophy. That could take 5, 10, 15 years to get 100% confident about your philosophy that you have. Like coaches, it takes a while for coaches to get their philosophy down, your approach, your leadership way of thinking, meaning not you. Then you have to kind of start thinking and saying, well, my guy here, the way he thinks, I just think he keeps getting in his own way. What can I do to encourage this guy? I understand how he's wired. I understand how she's wired. You're thinking about all this stuff in a critical thinking way. Being upfront with issues with your leaders. For example, for the first 2-3 years, when I started my own financial firm, I was not comfortable talking about real issues. I had some data that was scary data the first 2 years, and it almost put us out of business. I realized as a 32-year-old, look, if you're going to go like this, and you're worried about only giving positive data, you're going to put yourself out of business. So what did I do? All right, we're going to have a call. I set up a call. I terminated 3 people. I fired my #1 producer at the time. Hurt me a lot, but I made the decision and we talked about exactly what things could put us out of business.